And so, it said, it resumed combat, with the ceasefire ending at 7 a.m. local time. Smoke was seen over Gaza as heavy fighting was reported. There was no immediate comment from Hamas or claim of responsibility for the rocket launches. The return to fighting came despite urgent attempts by mediators Egypt and Qatar to continue extending the temporary ceasefire that began on November 24th. Hamas on Thursday had released 8 more Israeli hostages under a second last-minute extension of the deal, while Israel freed 30 Palestinian prisoners. That brought the totals of those freed during the truce to 105 hostages and 240 prisoners. More humanitarian aid was also brought into the shattered Gazan enclave, though deliveries of food, water, medical supplies, and fuel remain far below what's needed, according to aid workers. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken did not comment on the resumption of fighting as he left Israel for Dubai on Friday. He said the day before he told Israel it cannot repeat in South Gaza the massive civilian casualties it inflicted in the north.
A U.S. appeals court on Friday ruled that Donald Trump must face civil lawsuits over his role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters, rejecting the former president's claim of immunity. The unanimous decision by a 3-judge panel in Washington, D.C., found that Trump was acting in his personal capacity as a presidential candidate when he urged his supporters to march to the Capitol on the day of the riot in 2021. U.S. presidents are immune from civil lawsuits only for official actions. The ruling clears the way for Trump to face lawsuits from U.S. Capitol police officers and Democratic lawmakers seeking to hold the former president accountable for the violence by his supporters, who sought to overturn his 2020 election defeat. The decision only focused on whether Trump could be sued and said nothing about the merits of the cases themselves. A Trump spokesperson on Friday called the ruling, quote, limited, narrow, and procedural, and said Trump was acting on behalf of the American people on the day of the attack. The case is one of several civil and criminal challenges facing the frontrunner for the Republican presidential nomination, who wants a rematch with the Democratic president, Joe Biden.
And today, I rise, along with my colleagues representing all of Arizona, Republicans and Democrats alike, to honor the life and legacy of the most influential Arizonan in history, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor.
Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court, died on Friday at the age of 93. The court said in a statement that O'Connor died in Phoenix of complications related to dementia and a respiratory illness. She grew up in Arizona and lived there most of her life. O'Connor was sworn in as the first female Supreme Court justice in 1981, an appointee of then Republican President Ronald Reagan. She was conservative by nature, having grown up in an Arizona ranch family. But her pragmatism and knack for consensus building put her at the court's ideological center. As a former Republican state senator and later Arizona's Senate Majority Leader, another first-in-the-nation achievement, O'Connor understood how to strategize with colleagues to get a majority decision. Over her quarter-century tenure, O'Connor avoided sweeping pronouncements and voted for incremental change. And over time, her views became more liberal. She was a pivotal vote on some of the most contentious issues of her era, including preserving a woman's right to abortion and upholding affirmative action on college campuses. O'Connor once compared her tenure to walking on wet cement, saying, "Every opinion you offer, you've left a footprint." She retired from the court in 2006, replaced by the more ideologically rigid conservative Justice Samuel Alito. After retirement, she dedicated herself to improving civics education. In 2009, former Democratic President Barack Obama presented O'Connor with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor a president can give.
This is Reuters.
Data is everything, and now everything is data, which means more to process, more to analyze, and more than ever, speed to answers matters. SAS Viya delivers faster, more productive AI and analytics, making it the quickest way from a billion points of data to a point of view. Sazvaya, do more with your data.
From Fox News at 2:06 a.m. today.
He left before the vote ended. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi called GOP Congressman George Santos a coward for leaving before the final tally to oust him.
The expulsion of the 35-year-old lawmaker marking an historic moment for Washington. Santos becoming only the sixth House member to be expelled in the chamber's 234-year history. Friday's vote with 311 lawmakers affirming to remove Santos comes in the wake of a scathing ethics report, which concluded Santos sought to exploit his House candidacy for personal profit.
Fox's Madeline Rivera in New York will hold a special election to replace him. 2 cities hunting for gunmen who killed several homeless people. In Los Angeles, police believe a serial killer is responsible for the murders of 3 homeless people while they slept.
This news is devastating to our city.
Mayor Karen Bass.
Our message to the unhoused community is clear. Do not sleep alone tonight. Seek shelter, seek services, stay together, seek support, and we need your help to get the word out.
And in Las Vegas, someone shot 5 homeless people yesterday at an encampment, killing one of them. Renewed fighting in Gaza stretches into a second day after the 7-day truce with Hamas collapsed.
Israel's Ministry of Health says Israeli strikes killed at least 178 people in the Gaza Strip within hours of a weeks-long ceasefire collapsing. Israel and Hamas accusing each other of military activity that violated the truce, with the Biden administration singling out Hamas, saying the Palestinian militant group failed to produce a new list of hostages to release. Israel freed 300 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the release of over 100 hostages held by militants. Israel says 115 men, 20 women, and 2 children are still being held captive. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
And I'm Carmen Roberts. America's listening to Fox News.
Start clean with Clorox, because Clorox delivers a powerful clean every time. Because messes happen. Because...
Hey, listen. Remember how you told me to toss those takeout containers before we left for vacation? And you were like, I'm serious. If that leaks over the counter, it'll be a slimy abomination by the time I get back. And I was like, yeah, of course. Don't worry about it. I won't forget. Well...
Ooh, yeah, that happens. So start clean with Clorox. Use Clorox products as directed. Rinse after use if in contact with food surface.
Oklahoma carries out its final execution of the year.
59-year-old Philip Hancock declared dead by lethal injection at 11:29 a.m. Thursday at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary for the 2001 double murder of 2 men in Oklahoma City. Deaths that Hancock maintained were self-defense. Oklahoma Attorney General Ginter Drummond was present for the execution, saying in a statement that justice has been served, that he hopes for a measure of peace to the families of 37-year-old Robert Jett Jr. and 58-year-old James Lynch, whose lives were tragically cut short by Hancock. His execution, the 4th in Oklahoma this year. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Pope Francis sent a message today to the UN Climate Change Conference in Dubai. The Pope, who canceled his trip as he recovers from an acute case of bronchitis, told the group he's with them in spirit because time is short and that destruction of the environment is an offense against God. The Pope urged the world to save the planet by developing efficient, renewable energy, eliminating fossil fuels, and making lifestyle changes. Another large advertiser pulls